Imagine stumbling upon a glowing blue crystal, smooth, beautiful, and mesmerizing. You don't know it yet, but this tiny treasure is quietly killing you and everyone you love. This isn't science fiction. This happened. In 1987 in Brazil, a city named Goiânia became the site of one of the most horrifying radiation accidents in history. Not from a bomb, not from a power plant, but from an abandoned medical machine and a deadly dose of curiosity. Let's look at Goiânia through a different lens. Not just as a nuclear disaster, but as a perfect storm, where poverty, ignorance, and neglect collided with one of the most dangerous substances on Earth, cesium-137. It all started when a private radiotherapy clinic moved out of their building but left behind an old teletherapy machine, essentially a giant medical device used to treat cancer with radiation. Now that machine had a sealed capsule containing cesium-137. The clinic knew it was radioactive. The government was warned about it, but no one did anything. It sat there, abandoned, unguarded for months. On September 13, 1987, two scavengers, Roberto and Wagner, broke into the old building. They weren't criminals. They were looking for scrap metal to sell. When they found the strange machine, they thought it might be valuable. So they took it apart with hammers and screwdrivers, hauling it home in a wheelbarrow. Inside, they found a small canister, a capsule, and inside that, a blue glowing dust. The light was hypnotic, magical. Roberto thought he had found something valuable, maybe even supernatural, something to be shared. He was right, but not in the way he imagined. The capsule ended up in the hands of a junkyard owner named Devair Ferreira. He saw the glow and thought it was a gift from God. He showed it to his family. He scraped some of it out and gave it to neighbors. He rubbed it on his skin. His 6-year-old daughter, Lade, even played with it like glitter. Within days, people started getting sick, vomiting, fever, diarrhea. But no one knew why. The symptoms were mistaken for food poisoning or infection. Meanwhile, the cesium dust was spreading like wildfire. On clothes, on furniture, on skin. It was even swept into the streets by a cleaning lady. The radioactive powder was so fine it clung to everything. By the time authorities figured out what was happening, the damage had already been done. The contamination zone grew rapidly. Over 250 people were exposed to radiation. 4 people died, including little Lydie, and dozens suffered severe radiation burns and long-term health effects. Authorities had to demolish homes, bury contaminated soil, and confiscate over 40 houses and 14 tons of material. Entire neighborhoods were treated like nuclear waste. But the horror wasn't just physical, it was social. People who had been exposed were ostracized. Supermarket workers refused to serve them. A hospital evacuated when a Goiânia victim came for treatment. Fear spread faster than the cesium. This wasn't just a freak accident, it was a failure on many levels. The clinic left behind a radioactive device with no warning. The government ignored multiple reports about the machine. The public had no education about radiation safety. In the end, the Goiânia accident wasn't just about radiation. It was about how society treats its poor, how neglect creates vulnerability, and how beauty can be deadly when seen through the wrong lens. The glowing dust that lit up a junkyard in Brazil wasn't a miracle. It was a warning.